Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through, well, stacks of sources to pull out the most interesting, sometimes surprising, and sometimes pretty unsettling insights. Today, we're taking a trip back to childhood, but maybe not the sunny playground memory.
Yeah, not quite.
We're exploring those bits of media, those experiences from when we were young that genuinely spooked us.
Yeah, those moments that kind of weirdly maybe sparked a lifelong fascination with horror for a lot of people.
Exactly. It's about those specific images or sounds or even just ideas that sort of burrowed into our brains and just stayed put.
Long before we really understood what horror even was. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And our main source for this is, well, it's pretty unique. It's called a child's Nightmare Fuel Iceberg.
Right.
And this isn't just some random list someone threw together. It's huge, compiled from literally thousands of viewer suggestions.
Wow.
Curated by a big YouTube channel that, digs into internet stuff.
Oh.
And what's really cool about it, I think, is it's not just about jump scares. It looks at the subtle stuff, the weird stuff, the ways that seemingly innocent things could leave this really lasting, sometimes kind of chilling impression on us as kids.
So the mission today is kind of peel back the layers on these dark gems, as the source calls them.
Yeah. Let's figure out not just what they were, but why they stuck with us so much.
Understand the psychology a bit. Like, how did these maybe minor things unconsciously shape our interests or how we see fear?
Or even just how we see the world. So get ready. We might unlock some forgotten fears here. Could be an interesting trip down memory lane.
Definitely.
Okay, so where do we start? Let's unpack this with something I bet a lot of you remember. Maybe fondly, maybe not so fondly.
Okay.
That unsettling feeling you got from horror movie box art.
Oh, yeah. The video store.
Right. Blockbuster. Or maybe your local rental place.
Yeah.
Wandering those aisles.
Fluorescent lights humming.
And even if you knew your parents would never let you rent a Nightmare on Elm Street.
No chance.
Those horror covers just kind of drew you in, didn't they? They just got under your skin somehow.
Yeah, it wasn't usually like real trauma, was it? More like this persistent, low-level unease. Or a forbidden curiosity.
Exactly. Forbidden curiosity. You felt like you shouldn't be looking, but you just couldn't help it. You had to peek.
Totally. Covers like the brain. You know, the one with the actual brain just out there?
Yeah. Or the Ghoulies puppets. So grotesque.
Or the pure chaos on the Evil Dead 6 cover.
Zombie too. That decaying face.
And Jack Frost. Killer Snowman one, that was just bizarre.
It was. And Silence of the Lambs, obviously, with them off.
That one's iconic. And you mentioned one earlier, American Psycho. That specific cover with just the eye mask.
Oh, the Patrick Bateman one.
Yes.
Just those two empty holes staring back. Super unsettling.
That really nails what the source calls that dark curiosity.
It does. It was forbidden fruit. Absolutely. It made you feel uncomfortable, but also really intrigued.
Like, what is this movie? Why does it look so strange?
And, for so many people, that specific mix, a little bit of fear, a lot of curiosity, that was maybe the first little spark.
An early taste?
Yeah, an unconscious awakening of maybe I kind of like this feeling.
Yeah.
This horror thing.
It almost feels like a lost experience now, doesn't it?
Totally. Like kids today, without those physical video stores, are they missing out on that specific kind of mild, maybe foundational terror?
That's a really interesting question, because that visual hit, without the context of the actual movie, it was powerful.
Yeah.
It gave you this immediate jolt of dread or fascination, and you just needed to know more.
Right.
Psychologically, that's kind of like priming the pump, you know, for being interested in darker stuff.
Priming the pump, I like that.
You start associating certain images with tension, excitement, maybe not just fear, even before you see the film.
That makes sense. It's like learning a visual language for fear.
And it definitely cultivates curiosity about, the darker side of stories.
Yeah, that's a great point. So from forbidden art hinting at hidden stuff, we often learn things weren't always what they seemed.
Definitely.
Which kind of brings us to Jim Henson.
Oh, okay. Muppets, Sesame Street.
Exactly. The guy behind Kermit, Miss Piggy, Big Bird. Like the definition of wholesome kids entertainment, right?
You'd think so.
Well, it turns out he had this surprisingly dark streak in his really early work.
I think I know where you're going with this. Wilkins Coffee.
Bingo. It's lesser known and honestly kind of shocking early stuff. Commercials for Wilkins Coffee.
Right. Featuring Wilkins, who is basically this early, almost sociopathic version of Kermit.
Totally.
And Wilkins, his grumpy little gumdrop-looking pal who always got the short end of the stick.
Oh, did he ever? The format for these ads, and there were like over 300 of them, was just brutal.
It really was.
Wilkins would praise the coffee. Wilkins would say he didn't like it or wouldn't try it.
I mean, yes, bam.
Yeah. Wilkins would just violently attack it or, basically kill him. Then deliver some cold one-liner about the coffee.
And we're talking like shooting him with cannons, clubbing him.
Crushing him with stuff, electrocuting him.
Even stabbing him. There's one with a knife, like a shiv.
And the rapier one, where Wilkins just wipes blood off the blade afterwards. It's nuts.
What's so interesting is how, well, subversive they were back then. Henson even said they were meant to challenge the usual hard sell ads by making people laugh.
Right, but the humor came from this really sudden, over-the-top violence.
Yeah, and even with puppets, that kind of blunt, almost casual cruelty, you can see how kids watching that might feel pretty uncomfortable, jarred by it.
Totally jarring.
And maybe more deeply, seeing this kind of violence where the attacker is cheerful, unrepentant.
Like there are no consequences.
Exactly. It subtly hints at a world where rules don't always apply, which might be more unsettling existentially than just seeing a monster. It messes with that social contract kids are just starting to figure out.
That's a really sharp point. That jarring feeling definitely left a mark. But sometimes the unsettling stuff hides in plain sight, in something much sweeter looking.
Okay. Like what?
Like a Moomins.
Oh, the Moomins. Adorable little hippo troll things. Moomin Valley. Seems safe, right? Gentle.
Mostly. Unless you happen to run into the Groke.
Oh, the Groke. Yeah. That name comes up a lot in these discussions. Huge, ghostly, freezes everything she touches. That wide, fixed grin.
Yeah, the survey respondents frequently mentioned her as causing real childhood trauma. And how creepy she was depended on which version you saw.
Right. The Japanese one, sometimes she's just sort of a nuisance. The Finnish one uses more shadow, more cold dread.
But apparently the Polish fuzzy felt version, that's the one people point to as the absolute creepiest.
Piercing red eyes, actual snarls. Yeah, I could see that being nightmare fuel.
But what's really fascinating and kind of heartbreaking is the subtext, which maybe kids picked up on instinctively. The Groke isn't actually evil.
No, she's lonely. Desperately lonely.
Exactly. She keeps bothering the Moomins because she just craves warmth and friendship. The Moomin Wiki actually describes her as representing loneliness.
Right, and people who struggle to express affection, so they come across as cold or scary.
Which just makes them even lonelier. It's this tragic cycle.
That's incredibly deep and sad for a kid's show.
Right. It makes you wonder how much of that really heavy, melancholic stuff can kids actually absorb from something that looks innocent?
It's a great question, because the Groke taps into really basic fears, doesn't it? Misunderstanding, isolation.
Yeah.
And kids are maybe even more tuned into emotional signals than adults are. So seeing a character who isn't bad, but is scary just because she's so desperate and alone.
That can be deeply unsettling.
It's like a really early, subtle lesson in how complicated emotions are and how connection can fail. Hits you on a primal level.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, speaking of unexpected scares and kids stuff, let's talk about a video game. The Sims.
Ah, The Sims. The ultimate virtual dollhouse, building houses, making families. Seem innocent enough?
Mostly. But it was actually packed with genuinely creepy little elements.
Oh, yeah. Ghosts could appear.
Killer hamsters.
I remember.
The Grim Reaper would show up if someone died.
Right. But the number one thing people mention, the burglars.
The burglars, oh my God, yes. Way scarier than any ghost.
And it wasn't just that there was a burglar, it was how the game handled it. The whole sequence.
Totally orchestrated dread. First, you get that weird, ominous message just popping up, no context.
Then the game suddenly slows down to the slowest speed setting, builds that tension instantly.
And then suddenly, this shadowy figure just appears on your lot. The burglar.
And then that sound, that unforgettable Danger One sting.
That sound, the synth drone underneath sounds like something straight out of Psycho.
And those two piano notes just glashing half a step apart, like the Jaws theme, pure gut punch tension.
It literally triggered fight or flight. I remember just freezing up.
Me too.
And the fear wasn't even about losing your fake TV or whatever. It was that sound.
Totally.
I knew so many people, myself included, who started playing The Sims with the volume turned way down or even off completely just to avoid hearing that sting again.
It turned this creative sandbox game into something that gave you constant low-level anxiety.
It really did.
It's actually kind of brilliant sound design, though, in a terrifying way. Taking a safe space, your little virtual home, and just ripping that safety away with this auditory assault. Your brain isn't expecting danger there, so when it hits, signaled so strongly by sound, it's profoundly upsetting.
It definitely trained a generation of gamers to be jumpy in their own digital houses.
Absolutely.
Okay, from kind of subtle dread in games, let's go to something maybe even more psychologically intense. Another piece of kids' media.
Okay.
Toady, the story of a doll's house. Ever heard of it?
Vaguely. Stop motion, right? For really little kids?
Exactly. Supposedly about this cute little figurine family. But it apparently had this particularly dark edge.
Darker than killer hamsters and burglars.
Oh, way darker. The creators apparently wanted to help kids process like really adult themes and its strong emotions.
Okay, I'm intrigued and slightly concerned.
Right. Well, the most infamous storyline involved this snobby China doll character, Marchbane. And she wasn't just mean, she actively tries to murder the family.
Whoa! In a show for toddlers.
Yep. She traps Apple, the little kid doll, and sets the dollhouse on fire.
Oh my God.
Apple's mom, Bertie, tries to save him. And she does, but she gets incinerated on screen. Burnt to a crisp.
No, seriously.
Seriously. For a lot of kids who saw it, this was apparently their first encounter with, like, permadeath on TV.
Yeah.
A character being gone for good.
That is incredibly bleak. What happens to the villain, Marchbane?
Gets away with it. Zero consequences. Worse, she ends up being put in a museum like she's something precious to be admired.
You're kidding.
And the show ends with Toddy, the main character, looking at the burnt remains and saying something like, "But he did look beautiful in the flame."
Wow. Wow, that's dark on multiple levels. Fascination with destruction, no justice.
Totally. And apparently much of that specific episode is now lost media, which, maybe isn't the worst thing.
Yeah, maybe for the best. But it's amazing that a kid's show would even attempt to tackle stuff like that. Murder, loss, the idea that evil can just win sometimes.
Right. It's asking kids to grapple with the world not being fair, way beyond what you'd expect. That kind of ambiguity, so young, could really plant some deep unease about how things work.
For sure. Okay, so from these really unsettling, maybe ambiguous stories, let's shift to a show that was pretty much just pure psychological horror for kids.
I know exactly what you mean. Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Had to be. For so many people, that cartoon was like the gateway drug to horror.
Totally. It introduced kids to surrealism, the uncanny, existential dread, all wrapped up in animation.
And the Nightmare Fuel Iceberg survey pinpointed 2 moments from that show above almost all others.
Let me guess.
Yeah.
You're Not Perfect.
That's the first one from the episode Perfect, that bizarre, creepy CGI fetus-looking thing.
Yeah. With the huge eyes just floating there in Courage's dream.
And it just delivers that line, deadpan, "You're not perfect."
Ugh. The CGI was so jarringly realistic compared to the rest of the show's 2D style. Made it incredibly creepy and just wrong feeling.
Textbook Uncanny Valley.
Exactly. That feeling you get when something looks almost human, but it's off, and your brain just screams, "Danger!"
Courage weaponized the Uncanny Valley like few other kids shows ever dared to.
And the other one has to be Return the Slab.
Oh, absolutely. King Ramses' curse.
That ghostly CGI pharaoh. His whole look, the jerky, unnatural movements layered over the normal background.
And that monotone echoing voice, "Return the slab or suffer my curse."
Gave me literal chills just thinking about it.
Both those scenes just burrowed deep, caused so many sleepless nights because they showed fear could come from the inexplicable, right?
Yeah, from the surreal, the visually unsettling, and not just like a monster chasing you.
They were basically mini horror masterclasses disguised as cartoons.
No kidding. Okay, so we've covered a lot of media. Box art, commercials, cartoons, games. But some Nightmare Fuel, maybe the most potent kind, isn't external at all, is it? It comes from inside.
Ah, you mean the big one.
The ultimate existential dread. Just realizing you're going to die.
Portelli, it's not media specific, obviously. It's universal. Almost every kid hits that point, often just out of the blue.
Right. It's that moment where maybe for no clear reason, the whole abstract idea of death just suddenly clicks, becomes real.
And you see a dead bird or a pet dies, or you're just lying awake thinking.
And suddenly the permanence of it hits you. the finality.
When the questions just flood in, don't they? Wait, what happens to me? How long do I have? Where do you go?
Yeah. And even if your parents say all the comforting things, don't worry, that's a long, long way off.
It doesn't always help.
No, there's still that weird, profound sense of loneliness, like existential insignificance.
Yeah. That cold, hard realization that your life is finite. Your clock will run out.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do to stop it.
It's such a heavy, inescapable thing to grasp, especially when you're young. It really shapes you.
And it's arguably the most fundamental, the most lasting kind of nightmare fuel, right? Because it's not tied to a specific image or story. It's just existence.
Yeah.
It's a fear that grows up with us, changes form, maybe becomes more philosophical.
And maybe it's why we're drawn to horror in the first place.
Could be.
Yeah.
It's a way to kind of confront that ultimate fear, that reality, but in a safe, fictional space. Process it somehow.
Well, that brings us pretty much to the end of our deep dive into this childhood nightmare fuel iceberg.
Quite a journey.
Yeah, from unsettling video covers and weirdly violent puppets.
To tragic, lonely monsters, surprise scares in games, and even, well, thinking about the end.
It seems clear these early encounters, whether the creators meant them to be scary or not, they played a pretty big role.
Yeah, often unconsciously shaping how we saw fear, what made us curious.
And for a lot of us, maybe kickstarting that love for the horror genre itself.
They were definitely formative moments, kind of rewiring our brains to find the strange and the unknown intriguing, not just terrifying.
So we'll leave you with this. Think about your own experiences. What stuff from your childhood might be on your personal nightmare fuel iceberg?
And maybe ponder this. What does it really say about us, about the human mind, that some of our strongest, most vivid childhood memories are tied to the things that scared us the most?
Something to think about.
But
Thank you for joining us on this exploration into the terrifying and sometimes strangely beautiful side of growing up.
until next time, stay curious.
And remember, sometimes the best stuff happens in the dark.